everyone. Just finished the Silver Shadows, a Bloodline series book. The second to last one. I'm almost done with this series, but this one is quite intense. I think right now it's just getting more and more intense. This book, it starts off with her still in re-education, which is basically like a torture chamber prison. I honestly think that prisoners get treated a lot better than what she did. And her employers are the ones that trapped her in there and torturing her every time they speak out, every time they think for themselves or do anything against their roles or what they think is religious and right. They torture the heck out of them, from putting a sedative in them to make them throw up, and then they show them pictures of the Moroi, which are the good vampires, and so that way they get like that throw up sensation to the Moroi. But Sydney went through all that and it did not let her break her, but she did come out of it traumatized, which I just said, it came out of her traumatized, like she did get out of it. In this book, it pretty much goes back and forth between being in Sydney's mind and being in Adrian's mind. Each chapter, they pretty much lived apart this whole book series, and she's been in it for several months. She was able to do witchcraft in there and was able to make a sedative for the other detainees to eject in their cheek where their tattoos at, so the other leading alchemists wouldn't be able to control their minds anymore. And in her dream state, Adrian would visit her, and they came up with this plan and to rescue her, because they find out that she's in Death Valley underground somewhere, and he ends up couldn't reach her anymore because she ended up getting caught doing witchcraft, and so was in the extra down in the dungeons further down, getting tortured for several weeks. And then so Adrian went, like, psychically went out to one of her friends that she mentioned that she had in re-education, and they ended up coming up with a plan. Marcus, Duncan, the guy that Sydney mentioned, and another girl named that was Sydney's roommate, and they ended up setting the place on fire, and they ended up getting Duncan's girlfriend out and Sydney out of the torture section of the place, which, well, actually everything's torture in there, but this specific one was like they weren't allowed to eat, and they got like shocked every time they would talk back to the people, and they would show pictures of the Moroi and like put her hand in like this salvation, this chemical thing that made it feel like you're burning your flesh off, which it wasn't fine. It was just like a red mark, but it just made it feel that way. And then they put an sedative in you to make you want to throw up, and then would send you back to your class. And the next moment, a treat would give to everyone that in the class that was one of your favorites, but you wouldn't want to drink it because you would still have that throw up sensation, which is just another form of torture. And the dinner that they would have would be like a favorite to you too, just to torture you a little more. And one of the girls who got re-inked and was one of the newer girls who favored the Moroi, who came into re-education and got re-inked, and so ended up basically being in a zombie state, so because of their compulsion and their control. And Cindy was the only one who aided her and told her, like, come in, eat, and was making all these commandments of like, eat your food, because she was just a walking zombie. She couldn't think for herself, so the only way to get her to eat is just to command it. And the superiors were seeing this and hauled Sydney away. And that's when the main torturer woman like held her hand up of that flaming liquid and would sink it in every time she would show a picture of a Moroi and say I see evil. And when she refused, she would dunk the hand in, which is just ridiculous. The lead torturer woman stole a Sydney's cross, and when they set the place on fire and went after Sydney, Eddie and Adrian, and pulled out Duncan's girlfriend, who's been missing for like a year, but was there the whole time, just under the torture chamber area, because she was just one of those other lively people who just think for themselves, and they got them all out. And then after that, Marcus took everyone to pretty much closer to Mexico to give them more like IDs, fake IDs, and hide them amongst so the Atlanteans wouldn't catch them. But Adrian and Sydney decided to go up north so they could have a little bit more of alone time and honeymoon, because Sydney was like, since she was going to be the top priority for the Atlanteans and so they would be looking for her more and put the other people in jeopardy. So they went one north while the rest of them went south. And yeah, they found them in Vegas, where actually they got married, because Adrian believed that the only way that the Moray Queen Lisa would support Sydney and protect her is if he was one of her own people. So they got married, hung out in Vegas for a few hours to prep for the wedding, and a whole lot of Atlanteans found them and was racing around the boulevard area. And so Sydney, in the white dress, barely could walk in heels, and they were just running. And she ended up ditching a few and used the water to like trap them with her magic. And then once the helicopter that was coming for them came, but the evil Lantius woman from Re-Education was up on the roof and had a gun at Adrian's head when Sydney finally climbed up the ladder to get onto the roof to the helipad. And the whole time the helicopter was like kind of rotating because he couldn't land because everyone was like on helipad. So she set two guys on fire, demanded that Celine, I think her name was, give Adrian her gun. She made everyone get out on the lie on the floor, and so the helicopter finally landed. They get into the helicopter. Adrian introduced Sydney as his wife. They get on the helicopter to fly a jet to fly to the royal court in Pennsylvania, and they meet up with Lisa Rose, another person that instructs Lisa, Dimitri, and then of course Sydney's father and sister, who traded her in and was there, and they were all there. Lisa was like, you need to give the Sydney back to her parents or her father, and she was like, no, because she's my wife now, so now you have to protect her because she's like an extension of me. And whole hell breaks loose. They're like saying it's a sin, yada yada yada. And meanwhile, Lisa ends up just taking their side, saying you can stay at court and under my protection, but once if you leave court, it's no longer protected. And all that drama towards like the very end of the book, last few pages left, you think it's okay, you breathe now, and then next thing you know, like last page, Jill gets kidnapped, and then no one knows where Jill is, and she's been gone for months. And that is the last bit of this book, and now I'm on to the last one in the very long series, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later in the next video. And always, thanks for watching. Bye!